okay, this is all good and dandy, but I'm not really married to a Scientologist here. I'm married to someone who wants to be married to me, who will kind of go along or be along or act like they're along so they can fly under the radar of the church. But my point of view at this point is she's really, I don't think she's going to do that much Scientology.
All right.
It was still stressful. We were still fighting.
We were still fighting.
There was even a pretty serious fight because I started a new business, a wedding event venue place there in downtown Clearwater. And he wasn't in agreement with it. He didn't like that idea.
Okay.
So I remember one day we had a pretty good knockdown, drag out, and he sent me to the courthouse to get divorce papers.
Wow. How long after the marriage counseling was that? I'm curious.
Not long.
Yeah, well, a couple years, 2 or 3 years
probably.
probably.
The thing was, it kind of gotten back into the status quo of just, I'm really not a church, I'm really not a Scientologist, I'll act like one, I'll do the stuff, I'll do it for your sake, but I'm not really on board. At that point, I pretty much knew, all the lies and all the stuff that I had told all my friends about how she's going to do all these services were pretty much me lying to myself and then me lying to them. So, I wanted to make sure that, I had a Scientologist. So, yeah, we had a pretty bad fight. I actually went off and did the painting company by myself, even though she was helping me with the bids and whatnot. But we'd always worked together since 99. Mm-hmm. So for her to have a business and for me to have a business, it was, it was kind of the start. Again, we were restarting back up.
Okay.
Bitch isn't going to be a Scientologist, I'm leaving. But, I didn't really necessarily, we didn't talk about it that way. We didn't say it to each other because the underlying thing is, we do love each other. It is more important than being in Scientology. I lost sight of that. She didn't. It was my fault in that area, but it was stressful. It was stressful shit.
Yeah, I get it. During this time, I'm just curious, all this time, were you still doing that volunteer work for the church when they asked you to and that sort of thing?
Winter Wonderland.
Winter Wonderland.
Okay.
Way to Happiness.
Way to Happiness.
All right, so jobs would come up, projects would come up, and you guys would dutifully be the good Scientologists and go do them.
We were still walking, talking, trying to... you got to understand, these people will come to your house and visit you. Ethics will call you in. It's not like you're somewhere in, Oklahoma where there's no organization and nothing, no shot at Oklahoma. But when you live 4 minutes from the Flag Land Base and you start messing up, they'll knock on your door.
Yeah, you're under
the microscope.
A Scientology community, no question about it.
Yeah.
So now what happens?
We get to pay more. Pay more money.
I over those years, so now we're talking 2010 to 2004 or 14. That is. I'm talking to Jason Beghe.
Who had left the church?
Yeah, who had left the church?
But you're talking to him.
I'm talking to him.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking to Jason.
She's talking to numerous people she's not supposed to be talking to.
And looking and reading.
And, so you're actively...
educating myself on what is really happening.
How did that start? What started you looking at the internet? Was it Creed or did it come later?
Creed, definitely. And he would direct me specifically on things to look at.
Okay. Sort of infrequently looking stuff up.
Yeah, and
going
clear.
on the internet.
It's hilarious too. You're so scared. How do you clear history? Maybe I should go to the library, but what if there's a camera at the library? maybe the people at Flag have an in with the people at the library and they know. I mean, the paranoia is horrendous. But then I started talking to a couple of friends, and it's kind of like, are you in doubt? I'm doubting. Are you you're doubting? And then we started talking, And so there was a half a dozen of us that we all kind of discovered each other. And funny enough, we were all friends before. There was, and there was enough affinity or whatever between us before. And it was interesting that it just happens that these are also the same people that are looking at things on the internet that they shouldn't be looking and having their own doubts. And
So you ran into other people. That's interesting. I didn't
we'd
realize
have
you
little
ran into some other
parties,
people.
and watch, what was the big movie? Oh, The Secret. That was like, you don't watch that. Oh my gosh, that's the devil.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of collusion going on under my nose. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you're not in this circle.
No, I wouldn't look at a newspaper. I wouldn't look at the internet. She said something bad about Scientology. I'm like, still like, yeah, okay. Shut up. I'm like going to go clear. I'm going to go OT.
2013, October. The Mecca is going to have its big grand opening. He wants to go. Well, I want to go. I want to support my husband. I'll go. So we go into, we think everything's okay. During our marriage, Tim manifested a behavior of sorts that they didn't really want him at Flag.
All right.
Until he calmed down and they gave him a little program and said, why don't you go do this at a lesser org or mission and then you can come back, which was like a 2-year program. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
it hurt him. A lot of things had come to a big head. There were some situations in our marriage. There were some things that really pissed me off. So my boys and I decided we were going to drink some Captain Morgan. And I hadn't drank in a long time. So I drank a large amount of Captain Morgan and was out about 4:30 in the morning smashing furniture in my front yard. Because I was pissed about all the shit that was going on. And it just finally culminated. And some other people got a hold of it. And there was a bunch of different shit that I did. And over the whole marriage thing. And her not being in Scientology. And I just kind of flipped out. I lost it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And of course this gets written up.
Yes.
Oh,
Somehow
yeah.
it
I
gets
was.
back to the church.
Yeah, I did one of the 9 things you're not supposed to do at Flag. Because I even had said, well, then fuck it, I'll kill myself. I mean, I was just mental. I was gone. I was crazy. I lost it.
Okay.
I had been dealing with this for, 7 years? We'd been almost fighting, almost at that point, 6 years?
6 years.
About 6 years. Yeah. I couldn't get divorced. I couldn't leave, but I couldn't stay. You ever have that feeling?
I have no idea what
massive,
you're talking about. Yeah, no.
A giant, massive maybe. I mean, there were moments,
Yeah,
I was just going to get up and leave or demanded things or said things but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So
I stayed.
So you stressed. And,
I lost it.
And you lost it at one point.
I lost it. It got on.
And that's when his church says,
Yeah.
well, we don't want you. Oh my God, you need us? Well, get the fuck out.
Right.
Yeah,
I was just about to point out that was
What
an
is
interesting
that?
response.
What church does that? When you really need them, when you need that
the chaplain
support,
called me.
they tell you to get lost.
The chaplain did call me, but then she said that I was no longer that I was the flag flag. I was like, aren't you the chaplain? But that's all right. And then you didn't tell him the story of getting them about 8:30 at night. At 8:30 at night, OSA came to the house with 2 ethics officers. This was that prior to or after the
Kathy
meltdown?
Kathy True, who looks like The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
She's gray. She smells like an ashtray. And I think if she smiled, she would probably die. Her face would crack and fall off.
Wow.
And this person sits in my living room and starts grilling me for information. She's wanting more information about, any other SPs I might have talked to. I mean, she's really trying to get information from me. And
so somehow through the written reports they had received and whatever rumor line was going, they knew you had been in touch with Creed, and then did they know about other people? Did they know you had been talking to Jason Beghe?
Not at that point.
No.
All right, but they suspected something was up.
Yeah, I was still able to keep my mouth shut at that point.
And they when was this happened?
This was back in 2010 when that happened.
Yeah, this was
So
prior to. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
But these were the kinds. But these are the
kind.
kinds of incidents that you, as a Scientologist in good standing, you're not supposed to have OSA come knock at your door.
Right.
It's creepy, I mean, and I still had enough. I was still keeping my distance enough in my own mind enough to go, that's creepy. Who are these people that come to your door and try to put fear into you?
3 people know us.
I mean, that's
Two
Nazi
ethics officers,
shit.
yeah. 2 ethics officers and Osa. And I'm at the point still where she's feeling that way, but I'm at the point where, yeah, you just screwed up because now you got head Nazi on our plate. And you got the 2 minions here, and I got to deal with these bitches, so I got to tell them lies
These people are
about
nobody.
how I'm going to get you back
They're
on
nobodies.
course.
Okay.
And how this kind of behavior leads to other problems, and we should just be on course and getting auditing. And it's kind of like the police come and you say, okay, yeah, you got to say we're going to get this all straightened out.
Right.
So,
Okay. So that happened.
That
Yeah.
happened.
Okay.
But
So then let's fast forward again to
2013.
yeah,
And so we go down to see Patricio, the ethics officer, and he okays us to go to the grand opening, even though he's not allowed to be at Flag, and I have no interest, so it was kind of a moot point, as far as being on, taking courses there and such, being one of their customers.
yeah. For about 2 hours, I wasn't removed anymore from Flag.
All right.
And we were there, and we got an okay to go to the big grand opening.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sent on our way down the hallway to get our pictures taken for our badges, to go to the friendliest place on earth. You had to have a security badge with your picture on it. So we smile for the camera and
Lanyard.
And
That was actually the motto of Flag, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
The friendliest place on earth. That was what Flag was.
right.
That was
Yep.
a moniker for it. It's not just being snide. So,
Yeah.
No, that's true.
And in '95, I have to say I did feel that way.
Sure.
A few times.
Yeah.
Anyway. But then we got a call you went back to pick up our badges because they took the picture, come back the next day, pick up your badges. He went to pick them up and was told,
No, I went to go pick up the badges. I went to the little security window there, and she said, well, there are no badges here for you. And I said,
"You
well,
got no badges.
I said,
None for you."
yeah, I should have a badge. And they said, well, no, there's no badge here, but you need to call Patricio. Patricio had left a message. So I went over into the little restaurant, little bookstore place right in front of Flag in the lobby there. And I pick up the phone and I call Patricio, and he says, yeah, it's not me. That's what he says to me. It's not me. It's somebody. Hold on.
I'm sorry, I took the punchline.
It's not it. Patricio's saying it's not me. It's a higher level ethics terminal that says you can't go because of your wife.
Okay.
So then I sit down. I'm all perplexed. I'm like, I should probably go because I'm gonna start tearing books up in half, in front of these people, and they already think I'm batshit wacko. So, but I'm at this point going, okay, well, I did all this shit. People wrote reports. I'm fine. It's her fault again. So it's kind of like they're playing me against her again. So I'm like, well, I could probably go if she wasn't going to go. But then even I couldn't go. And then I couldn't go back to Flag. So I was done. I was like, I can't be on course where I want to be. I can't have my favorite word clear, Kevin, who I protected from the Sea Org member. I can't do any of that stuff.
All right.
So
then what?
I'm told that I need to come in and answer a few questions.
Well, yeah.
He knew what it was.
I knew what it
didn't know
was.
what it was.
I told you what
I
it
have to answer a
was.
few questions. So I go in and I see Patricio again, and he says, well, actually, what I'm going to have you do is talk to John Balmain, who was my auditor. He'd been my auditor forever. For all the years I'd been in Scientology. And I said, okay. So I started meeting with John, answering his questions, and then realized this is what they call a confessional or a sec check, security
He
check.
had you on the cans.
He had me on the
in
cans.
a meter.
Yeah,
In the
weeks.
room.
Weeks.
And we got to pay for that.
We got to pay for it.
Yes.
$4,300.
Okay. For
Yeah.
him to ask you some
For him
questions.
to ask me some questions.
$4,300. Yes, I
So at
remember
the end
writing
of
that.
weeks of confessional, he writes a report that is submitted to the ethics officer. He let me see it first, and I read it and went, well, I don't know if the guy was asleep during my confessional, but some of this stuff is wrong, way wrong, and then I started really kind of, John's a good guy, but I was wondering, all these years, of auditing, and I wonder how much other shit he got wrong, because I'm reading the knowledge report going, a lot of this stuff is wrong. And I called him and I said, John, this is wrong. This is wrong. He goes, okay, do a false report. That's what they're called, a false report. And you attach it to the KR, to the knowledge report. And then those will be submitted to the ethics officer for review. So I did that. I wrote a false report, and I gave it to John. So a couple of months go by, and I get a call to come and see Patricio. Meanwhile, the grand opening's come and gone. We didn't get to go. And Patricio says, I have a program I'd like you to do. That, you did all this stuff, so that puts you in a lower condition of existence.
Yeah, you have
in regards to the church, yes.
Yes.
And so here's your program.
Yep.
And I'm reading it, and I'm going, it was so generic. It was something he pulled out of his bottom drawer. He probably has a dozen of them already, And it was, read the code of a Scientologist, write up half a dozen different ways you violated it. I mean, it was just ridiculous stuff. And I thought, my heart is not in this. And the truth is, I read the Code of a Scientologist when I was working with John, and I told John, while I'm on the cans, I'm not a Scientologist. And I had that realization when I read Informing the Public Accurately of Scientology and its intention. Something, I'm not quite getting it right, but I went, accurately? You want me to go out and accurately inform the public? Well, to do that, I'd have to say, yes, there is a Xenu story that L. Ron Hubbard puts out there. These people do believe in body thetans all over them. And
so you knew about that stuff
yes,
from what you read on the internet.
That was part of my confessional. I admitted knowing this stuff. Well, part of the program was going to be, well, you have to, I'm supposed to go out there and inform the public accurately. Well, their definition of accurately was you need to lie. You need to tell him that there is no Xenu, that that you would mistake, and the things you read on the internet or people that you listen to are all liars, and this is all lies and inaccurate. And I can't. That goes against everything here, my own integrity. I can't do that. I'm not a Scientologist then, if that's what's required of me.
What happened after that he gave you that program?
I have a hard time with it. And John, who's also our friend, started meeting with me informally on Sundays and trying to help me find a happy medium. He knew what I was trying to achieve. He knew where my heart was at, my head was at. But he also, I think, wanted to help me keep my marriage together. And so we were trying to find a way to word, because when you do a step of the program, you write up that part and submit it. And so we were trying to figure out a good happy medium, that an acceptable truth. That's what the hell is that? It's either true or it's not.
Well,
but in Scientology, there's acceptable truths.
Yeah, an acceptable truth is the truth to a Scientologist.
Yeah, it's what they want to hear. That's an acceptable truth. And anyway, then something happened. He went on vacation, and then I had to go on vacation, and there was a couple of months in there where nothing was happening on the program. And then I get a call, or no, he gets a call. And I'll let you tell from this point.
I'm away, and I get a call from John saying, something heroic better get done pretty fast with your wife. She better do something of large magnitude, something pretty heroic to save herself, because I just got a call from
Daniel
or Patricio, somebody.
Well, Patricio's
saying,
off the...
Oh, okay, so Daniel. So...
An ethics person.
An ethics term.
One of the Scientology
I don't know. He didn't tell me who it was. He just said she needs to do something pretty heroic. So, I know in my head right there that means expulsion. That means declare. She doesn't think of it that way. So I call her immediately, and she's like all nonchalant about it. Yeah, we're going to get back together, and we're going to meet, and, we'll write some crap up, and I'll take it over there, and it'll all work out. So... I'm like, well, he sounded pretty serious. He sounded like he knew something, but did not tell me exactly what it was. Go ahead.
So then I get called in. And
tell him where you get called in to.
Yeah, well, the night before that I'm supposed to go in, he's really upset. I think because he knows I'm to meet the ethics officer not at the base, but off base in a small office, consequently right across the street from my wedding venue.
Yeah.
Which I didn't own anymore, but again, that's a stupid story. And it's this little hole in the wall office. You wouldn't know which door to go in. So I pull up, and Daniel actually stepped outside so I could see where to go in. You know, the ethics officer stepped outside so I could see him. But he knew what that meant. And it really, really upset him. And I'm watching him be upset like this, and I'm thinking, now I'm starting to get a little concerned. So my son showed me how to actually record on my phone without the mishap of having it ring like an incoming call, because typically you're supposed to have your phone off or whatever when you go in to see the ethics officer. They want to, I think probably because they don't want you to record shit. Well, I had 2 phones. So I don't care, so try to bring charges against me, make me a martyr. But I had one phone that was off, and I showed it to him, and I set it up on the desk. But, they're filming the whole thing. They got a little camera and mic set up. I mean, they film everything. But I had the other phone in my pocket on record because I thought, you know what? If these assholes are going to kick me out, I want my husband to hear exactly why. Because he won't know why. Because the goldenrods that say they've been declared are very general. They don't tell people.
And goldenrods meaning that they're on yellow or goldenrod paper when they issue a suppressive person declare. Or
right.
Ethics orders. Those are all issued on goldenrod paper, so they just call them goldenrod. Right.
So that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can read it if they happen to go into that part of the church where they post these things. And it would be very general. Though, you're not supposed to generalize because that's a very low-tone trait. Church does it all the time, but anyway, so I recorded it, and I think a lot of people have probably heard the recording.
But my point is that those things are suppressive acts toward the church, whether you're a Scientologist or whether you're not a Scientologist. So you can not do that. That's fine. I'm just telling you, those things get labeled as such. So I was going to give you the policy letter so you can read it if you do want to.
I have read it and I understand. I hope that you will consider the intention behind it. It wasn't to harm the church. It wasn't to pick up a picket sign or anything like that. Okay, it was out of simple curiosity. Especially the call with it wasn't a call, it was an email with Mark Schreckler. What happened? Shroud. Okay? It freaked me out. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I think anybody with a curious mind would want to ask the guy, what the hell? And I did read Debbie Cook's letter because I loved Debbie Cook. I went to the meetings, the CEC. I was like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense to me. So I pursued that. I did that. Now, I didn't need to. The only reason I make a comment or even contact someone like Nick Lister is because my heart goes out to him. He's my daughter's age. He's been cut off. I have been cut off. I've experienced that just a smidge when the Boschoffs felt like they had to put my picture with people that I had just met that night. I didn't even know they were suppressives or declared persons until I was there. And sure, I should have gotten up. But 4 or 5 drinks later, they take my picture and put it on Facebook. Great, okay? So then Boschoffs ran with it. That was upsetting because what happened is I go from about 1,200 people on my friends list to about 200 in 3 days. Nobody asked questions. Nobody came to me. Mm-hmm. That was a little heart-wrenching. And so I know how Nick feels. And I know how Creed felt. Creed wanted to kill himself. It is horrid, and that's one of the reasons I'm not interested in the whole church thing, because I think I don't agree with it. I can't agree with it. And I've been showed policy, and I can't. I told myself I would not get emotional about it, and I'm just going to TR3 it.
It's fine. I'm not here to handle you to do it.
I know, and
I'm more telling you that
but
these things get labeled, and they get, people who do these things do get labeled. And so I didn't want to all of a sudden just have a label happen when no one had spoken to you in 8 months. That's why decided to see you.
Okay.
Because at least I'm telling you, and if I wanted to give you the policy, you don't have to take it if you don't want to. It's in the ethics book as well. It gives the step if one does want to get back into good standing. That was the main reason that I just didn't want it to be out of the blue.
Okay. All right. What's going to be out of the blue? What's coming? What is coming?
Like what I'm saying is someone commits suppressive act, they get labeled.
So you're going to actually label me a suppressive?
For the committing the suppressive acts, yes.
Do you understand what that is going to do to me?
I think that the actions that you've taken...
I'm telling you right now, I'm not even a member of the church, but you're still labeling me. How does that work?
Well, look at the actions that you've done, like I just explained.
But if I did it as a non-member, I don't even have a membership. I've never had a membership.
Okay.
So anybody in this whole planet, whoever spoke with Nick Lister, is a suppressive?
Well, somehow you've had some connection to the org or the church. I mean, I'm seeing you now.
Everybody in this town and has had some involvement with the church. The mayor. Can the mayor not speak to Nick?
I think you're more of a Scientologist than the mayor.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not a Scientologist.
Fine. Maybe you were more of one.
So you're going to label me as suppressive. That means my husband has to divorce me. That means I lose half of my clients. That means my son, who is in a band with a Scientologist, who's about to make a big record, can't be in that band anymore. Or he has to disconnect from his mother. I have to disconnect from my brother. I've lost two to death. And now I'm going to lose to disconnection. Does this make any sense?
I'm just telling you, you need to take responsibility for your actions that you've done.
They weren't suppressive. There was not any harm intended. I had a communication. I have seen Bruce Sweet on the street say, "Hey, Creed, how you doing?" You know, he responded to a communication. How come he's not in here having to do this? Why isn't he labeled a suppressive?
I don't know. Did you report it at the time?
He didn't report himself? My goodness.
I don't know.
Isn't he
I heard about it. I'm just telling you that you need to take responsibility for your actions. You can handle it. And it did come as a shock. I really did not think that was going to happen. I never met this Daniel character. He basically took over for the old ethics officer. I thought I was going to meet with the new ethics officer. We're going to pick up the program where it all left off. That's really what I thought. But, in the last 5 minutes of the tape, you hear, no, it's not what it was. That's not what was happening. I was being declared. I was being kicked out.